What's going on, YouTube? So beside me is a very exciting product, and I have to admit, seeing it in person really just kind of makes my heart beat, because this is the all-new 2022 Nissan Z. And of course, this vehicle has been a long time in the making for an all-new model, so we're super excited that Nissan has finally brought this model to production. And it will be available early in 2022, so you won't have to wait much longer if you want one of these Z products. But we're here at the Chicago Auto Show, and we're going to do a first look video about this all-new Z and tell you what we know about it before we hopefully get a full review on our channel very soon. Let's go ahead and get into it. So seeing this Z in person, as far as the exterior design is concerned, I have to say it is absolutely beautiful. And what you're seeing right now is just the proportions of this model. It is absolutely gorgeous. We have a big, long, low front design, and then you just have the rest of the car that's slicked back. I love the way it looks, especially from the side. But let's talk about the front. What's going on right here. So we have our Nissan badge right here in the center. It's very low to the ground. And then off to the side of that, you're gonna have these headlights. These are gonna be full LED headlights. They turned off on me while I was talking, but we did have them on earlier. And these are gonna have a really cool design. They have daytime running lights as well as your projector LED components. There's not gonna be any fog lights, but you do have this area right here with a really cool texture to suck in air to that engine, which we'll talk about in just a second. Now this wouldn't be a sports car if you didn't have really nice wheels. So check out what Nissan has thrown in here. I love the design of this wheel. We have a gray finish. These are 19-inch alloy rims. We also have a red Nissan brake caliper, which I really think stands out in contrast to this beautiful gray paint. And then moving on up from that, we do have blacked out mirror housing as well as a blacked out roof design. I assume you would also have blind spot monitoring. Now, as far as the side itself, you do have that kind of fastback design where it just kind of gently flows back. We have our Z branding right here. And then coming around to the rear, dang, guys, this thing looks so good. So as you can see, we have this element right here, which is actually just painted black. It gives it a really cool design element just to have this part painted and then come into the spoiler. Now the spoiler is going to be body color, and then if we drop down, we have this blacked out area in between the Nissan badge and the taillights. And then as far as these taillights themselves, these are going to be beautiful taillights. These are going to be full LED. They have some nice accenting going on. And then if we drop down here, you see these babies? We have dual integrated exhaust outlets. We even have some of the perforations on the outside of the exhaust outlet itself. Now let's go ahead and check out what's under the hood, because I know that's a very important part about a performance car. So I just popped the hood, and let's go ahead and see what is under here. So we do have a prop stick, so I'm gonna have to hold it up here. But what you're seeing under the hood is a 3-liter twin-turbo V6. And this is gonna be making 400 horsepower, 350 pound-feet of torque. I do believe this engine is related to the Red Sport 400 options that you've seen in the Infiniti products. And it is going to be routed through an automatic transmission, or you can get a 6-speed manual, which I know is something that a lot of you purists are gonna be looking for with this Z model. All right, guys, we're inside of the all-new Z, and let's see what you're gonna have in here, because one of the biggest cons about the older Z was that it was just really getting old in the tooth when it comes to technology. It was still a nice place to spend time, but for this all-new model, Nissan has listened to that, and they're throwing in some really cool tech. So let's go ahead and break down the tech first, and then we'll talk about the material quality as well. So right in front of us, we're looking at a 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster. This is going to be, you know, your typical Nissan digital gauge cluster, and you can customize all the different elements, which is certainly a big benefit over the previous model. We actually just tested out a Nissan Z Nismo, and it had like calculator text in the middle with a traditional analog display. So this is going to be a huge improvement. Now let's check out our steering wheel. We have a new steering wheel design for the Z. We have our Z branding in here. We have some piano black trim on the outside edges. It is nicely leather wrapped. We have all of our stalks right back here. It's going to be manually tilt and telescoping. And then let's check out the door trim. Now this is something I do want to point out here. With this all-new Z, you're going to have a pretty similar door trim to the outgoing model. So if you remember, it has the vents integrated here into the door trim. So that is an element that does carry over for the all-new one. However, I really like how they've integrated the Alcantara and red leather armrest going in there, and we also have 2 fully automatic windows in addition to a Bose audio system. Now, in terms of other pieces of technology, another thing that I was lacking was a really good infotainment system. So this all-new model is going to have a new infotainment system. I can't really see it, to be honest with you, right now because I don't have the key. I assume this is going to be running one of Nissan's newest versions of their infotainment system, so it should also have Apple CarPlay as well as Android Auto. All right, and I also want to talk about these seats. As you can see, we have the red leather seats. We have Alcantara in the middle, and I'm a really big fan of the way these seats hug you in. Just sitting here in the driver's seat, it just feels like I'm at home. I feel like I'm in a proper sports car, and I love it. Now, as far as other things that the leather is going to go into, let's talk about the materials. We have a nice soft touch dashboard here at the top. We have this leather piece right through here that goes underneath of the display. I'm glad that it is dyed the red leather. It gives it a really cool look. Then as far as the rest of it, it's going to be typically about what you expect out of a Nissan Z. You're not going to have a ton of interior storage. You do have a cup holder right here as well as another one in that area. As you can see, this model does have that 6-speed manual transmission that I'm sure everyone's going to be clamoring to get for the Z. Another thing I want to point out is this right here. You do have your performance gauges up here at the top of the dashboard. That's going to be a piece that does carry over from the previous generation Z. And then in addition to that, we have an auto-dimming mirror with 3 home link remotes. But let's go ahead and check out that cargo area. Now, I know you don't buy a Nissan Z for the cargo capacity or really anything in terms of practicality, but one of the things I was really impressed with when we sampled this out for an entire week, the older generation, was this cargo area. You can actually fit quite a bit of stuff back here. Now, indeed, it is pretty shallow, so you can't stack much up. However, it goes back all the way to the first row of seats, and you really have more space than you would imagine. You can certainly take this to the grocery store, get whatever you're going to need. Maybe not for a full-size family, but this is pretty darn practical for a sports car. Now, as far as a few other things to mention before we wrap this video up, pricing is going to start around $40,000 for this all-new Z model. And like I mentioned earlier, this is actually going to be available pretty soon. So you can expect to find this at your local Nissan dealer soon if you haven't ordered one already. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel already, we would really appreciate that. Hit that subscribe button down below. It gives us a lot more opportunities. Also follow us on TikTok and Instagram. Those 2 platforms have shorter form content. And we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.